This entire pot costs less than one fast food meal, and it feeds my entire family. So this one-pan meal couldn't be easier and more affordable for a family. It's great for cleanup, and at under $10 for the entire pot, feeds a family of 4. You're gonna love it. Let's go over the ingredients. We've got bone-in chicken thighs, pepper, salt, olive oil. I've got chicken stock here, and you can use water if you want, but I'm using chicken stock. Chantilly beans, crushed tomatoes, a small onion, and a few cloves of garlic. Then we have rice, and to garnish, some parsley. So let's get to it and make this awesome one-pot meal for under $10 that feeds a family of 4. Let's do it. First, I'm going to dry the chicken thighs off with a paper towel. This will help them not to stick to the pan and let the skin crisp up better. Then, I'll apply a generous amount of salt to the front and to the back of each thigh. All right, so we have our pan heating up here on about medium heat. It's a stainless steel pan, which I love because I think it really conducts the heat very well. You could put it in the oven or anything. I know it's a little bit intimidating for a lot of people, but it's actually much easier. So first, we're gonna make sure that the pan is the right temperature. You just put a little water in there, and if you see that beating of the water, it means your temperature is good. And from there, we're gonna add about a tablespoon of olive oil. A few tablespoons here. And you'll see it just beat up nice on the pan. Remember to keep this on low. You don't want that olive oil to burn. Olive oil has a lower smoke point. And now we're going to put in the chicken breasts that have been dried off, skin side down. Now the important thing is here, once we put these in, I do not want to touch these for about 5 to 7 minutes. So we're just going to leave those for a nice 5 to 7 minutes and let them brown up, and then we're going to flip it and do it on the other side. In the meantime, I want to prep up our other ingredients and make sure everything is good to go after this chicken is ready. So let's prep everything up, and then when the chicken's done, we'll flip that, give it another 5 to 7 minutes, and then put everything together. So while the chicken is browning up, I will chop a few cloves of garlic and dice up a small onion. Then I will measure 1 cup of rice. I'm using short grain rice here. Then rinse it a few times until the water runs clear. After rinsing, strain and put it aside until ready. Okay, so it's been about 7 or 8 minutes. I'm going to give these a flip now and see if that skin is nice and brown. All right, looks good. Looks great. Yeah, it's exactly how I want them. Beautiful. Okay, so now we're going to let them go on this side for about 4 to 5 minutes, and then we're going to start building this dish together. Okay, so it's been another 3 or 4 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and remove this chicken and put it back in the plate. You don't have to wash this plate because we're going to be putting this chicken back into the dish to recook and finish. And this chicken is not going to be completely cooked at this point, so no reason to worry if the chicken is not cooked. Oh, that skin looks really good on this one here. Okay, so the next step is, it looks like we still have a lot of oil, and that chicken released some oil in there, so I'm going to put in the onions next, not the garlic. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the onion portion of this in. And we're going to cook the onions for about 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, so at this point, about 3 to 4 minutes have passed. You can see how translucent that the onions have become. Now I'm going to add in my garlic here. So just scoop in all that garlic. And again, that's about 2 minced cloves. And I'm going to go ahead and mix this garlic in for about 30 seconds. I love the smell of garlic and onions cooking. It really just stimulates your appetite. Okay, now after about 30 seconds, I'm going to take my rice that has been draining over here after we already washed it, and just go ahead and put the rice in. And this is going to essentially toast this rice up. So I'm going to go ahead and mix all the rice in just for a couple minutes. And again, this was 1 cup of rice. So you see right now is a small onion, 2 cloves of garlic, and 1 cup of rinsed short grain rice. And we want to keep moving this rice around. I don't want it to stick. I just want it to kind of toast and get to know all the flavors in there and mix together. Just for about a minute. All right, so after a minute, we're going to add in our liquids and beans. So first I'm going to add in our crushed tomatoes. For the crushed tomatoes, we're using about 14 to 15 ounces, or about 400 grams of crushed tomatoes. I had a big jar, so I separated it into a smaller one here. And I'm going to do the crushed tomatoes first. This way, I could take my chicken stock and add the chicken stock into this so I can combine everything well. And not miss any of this. But the thing is here, you want to make sure that you're not overly putting in any liquid. So definitely this recipe, usually I say, do it the way you want to do it, but you want to follow the liquid amounts here. Otherwise, the rice will become soggy. So we're going to put in the beans next. All right, beautiful. I'm going to give that a nice stir to combine everything together. And once it's done stirring, I'm not going to stir this again. So make sure that everything is combined. All these little pieces of rice are off the side of the pan. All right. Give it one nice stir to make sure everything is incorporated. Smells great. At this point, I'm going to add a pinch of salt. We'll add more later if necessary. And then nestle these chicken thighs back into the dish, right on top of the rice. Make it look nice because you're not going to be moving it around when everything's cooking. So you basically have one chance to do this well. Okay, so I think that's good. I'm going to add this little juice here. So at this point, this is on low. I'm going to cover this, and we're not going to touch it for about 20-25 minutes. We'll come back then. Okay, so this has been simmering for about 20 minutes. So now, next step, I'm just going to shut off the heat right here, and we're going to let it sit for another 10 minutes and let the rice finish absorbing all of those liquids. All right, so this has been allowed to rest for about 10 minutes. Let's take off the lid, give it a taste, and see how we did. Smells amazing. I want to dig in there, and my main thing I want is to get some of this rice and just make sure, let me go from the bottom, make sure that that rice is completely So I just wanted to make sure that the rice is completely cooked. It is. So we're going to put a little parsley on this and then serve it up and actually taste and dig into the dish. So sprinkle a little parsley on each piece of chicken and around the pan here. And then we'll serve it up and give it a good taste. All right, so let's give this a nice taste. It smells really fresh and appetizing. So we'll put that right in the bowl here. Oh, look at that rice. That's a full meal. All right, so first of all, let's get a nice scoop of those rice, beans, and tomato. It's really smooth. It doesn't have a typical tomato sauce. I think the drippings from the chicken and the smoothness of the beans all come together to make a really nice sauce. And the rest of that starch from the rice kind of pulls everything together. So it's liquidy, but not runny. Really good. Okay. So let's cut into a piece of this chicken. I think I could have cooked the skin side down and crisped that up a little bit more when I was cooking, but next time. But let's taste it. Well, the chicken is extremely tender, and the flavors from the initial salting and the tomatoes and beans and rice come through perfectly. I mean, it's such a simple dish, but it's really, really good. And for $10 for the whole pot and less than, $3 per person for a meal, you can't beat it. This is really nice, easy to put together, and very economical. And cleanup is a breeze with that one pot meal. Join us next time on Real Plates for more great meals. And if you like what you see, please subscribe, and we appreciate the support. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. That's really good.